Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of the Million Mom Movement community. Today's topic is the gift of health and a nourished new year for parents raising neurodiverse children. And it is our honor to be here and share value with you today to just help support you in nourishing yourself because we know that oftentimes when we're so busy taking care of everybody else, we sometimes forget to take care of ourselves and do the self-care portion. So I'm really excited to be able to bring this topic to you along with my co-hosts today. I have my Million Mom Movement Council member, Dominique Jeffries, here with me, as well as our co-host for this topic, Anna Marie Sandoval, and I will be introducing her a little bit more shortly. But before we go there, I'd love to see if anybody would like to read the pledge. I'll go ahead and pull up my screen if we have any volunteers. Any takers? Athena, can I unmute you? Will you read the pledge to us? You're still muted. Won't let you unmute. All right. Dominique
I,
or Anna Marie, you want to go ahead and take it
I was
away?
gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say I don't mind reading it. So, I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I'm committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement.
Thank you so much, Dominique. And would you like to share a little bit more about what this movement means to you?
Yeah, so I'm just so grateful for this community and especially the Million Mom movement. Some of you all know my story, but I've been a part of Perium for 5 years, and I knew or didn't know a lot about the chemicals in our food or in our environment. And what really drove me to be a part of this mission and to spread it to more families was watching my grandparents, all four of them, deteriorate from lifestyle diseases and specifically cancer and Alzheimer's. And when I learned about the relationship to glyphosate and Roundup, how it's in our food supply and just also in our air and our water. I just thought about my grandparents and the foods that they were eating, but also my grandfather used to spray Roundup in our backyard. So I just knew that this was something that more families needed to know, at least educate themselves about, but also know that there were solutions. And even though I wasn't able to support them, just really is important to me to be able to change my own health and then pay it forward to more families, like the pledge read, for future generations. So, what we're doing, everyone that's on this call, when you are all making a change, an effort to transform your quality of life, and what you're doing is rippling out to the communities that you support, whether you recognize it or not, or however many lives you've been able to impact. It's making a big difference. So I'm just grateful for this community and just grateful to be a part of this council too.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And it's so true, like this generational knowledge that we're getting to learn that maybe our parents or grandparents didn't know, and that then we can pass it on to our next generations and really help us to thrive more. And that's where we're creating so much more healthy, choices as we learn. And I often say we don't know what we don't know. And so we have to share what we know with those that we love so that way they can know too. So today's topic is really about supporting parents of neurodiverse children or family members. And because nourishing really begins with your own health, right? You can nourish your family so much better if you're nourished and your cup is full and you're pouring from a full cup. So you pour so much into the ones you love, and especially when you're caring for a neurodiverse child or family member. And so this new year, we invite you to receive something for you, some guidance, some support, some simple tools to really help you feel nourished from the inside out. And so we really just want to empower you with this uplifting presentation, really to help support you as you go into 2026 with more energy, more clarity, more calm, more focus. And together we'll just explore some nutritional support, some, daily activities, different things that can really support you in your daily life. And so, without further ado, I'd love to invite our guest speaker and co-host on the line. And this is my dear friend and sister, Anna Marie Sandoval. She's an amazing mom of two beautiful daughters, and she's also the wife of Dave Sandoval. She's the president of the Awaken Project Foundation, which is an amazing foundation that she started with her sister Tirza. Anna Maria also comes from a background working as a behavioral specialist for kids that are neurodivergent for over a decade now. So she's very knowledgeable in the field and has worked firsthand with many families. And she's also really passionate about teaching and learning from children. It's one of her greatest passions. And she's so devoted to the mission of healing for families and raising knowledge in the neurodiverse community. And so, without further ado, Anna Marie, thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, thank you so much for that beautiful pledge, Dominique, and for the amazing intro. And Iva, so beautiful to see you guys. And as always, what a privilege and an honor to get to be on this call and speak with you all. I'm feeling really so blessed. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think I say this often, but this topic is really special to me because, you know, the nourishment and care and the support that parents need for people who are on have neurodivergent children or just children, often in general. When I had the inspiration to start the Awaken project with Tirza and Dave, it was surrounding because of what I saw parents going through when I was working in home with families and clients. And so, um, what I noticed the most was that all the parents, pretty much, that I had the pleasure of getting to work for and work with were themselves extremely depleted and in a chaotic space mentally and physically, not necessarily because they were sick per se, but because they weren't getting what their body was needing or what their ultimately their nervous system was really needing. And so it was dawned upon me that if I were to really make a difference in the children's lives who I was working so hard for and cared so much about, that it really was the number one step to really help parents and give them a chance to get a breath of fresh air and get some wind under their wings to have an effect on what was going on in the home in total. It was coming from a different aspect at that time when I was trying to give not necessarily nutritional support, but give, different resources and tools for how to be with their children and realizing, wow, these parents really can't take another thing on their plate to have to integrate and plan and weave into their children's lives and their lives. And so, as I realized that, I was also coming into the time of discovering superfoods, Imperium. And I realized, oh my God, like the number one gift that I could be giving parents is time to think and just like be, and to be able to give them the nutritional help that could change everything for them. And so ultimately, when I started thinking and dreaming up with my partners about the Awaken Project, it was all about not just caring solely for the being who is neurodivergent, but helping to give a fresh rejuvenation and a full feeling of support and nourishment for who is caring for the children. And so it all circulates back into this subject of how we really have to, it's required to be able to be in our best health possible, to be able to serve our children and our families in the best way possible. You know, a lot of people consider it to be selfish to take care of oneself, to, you know, take the time to have self care. But honestly, it's like self sabotage to not be taking care of yourself, to not be supporting yourself with the right nourishment. Because if we are sick or if we aren't well, we can only go so far not giving our bodies what they need. And if we aren't well, then we won't be able to be there for our kids and our families. And we won't be able to show up in the ways that we want to for ourselves and for the world, for what our daily beings want to do and joy. We won't even be able to access that if we're completely depleted and in a overtaxed, overspent space. And so it's really, really been such a honestly a pleasure to be able to serve parents real nutrition, right? Because so much of what is accessible right now is not actually real nutrition. It's, you know, food, it's calories, it's something to go into your mouth and to satisfy a hunger craving. But to be honest, a lot of what parents have the time to get their hands on and actually get to eat uh, is minimal, and it's definitely not enough to cover the needs of a body for a person, a general parent in general. However, parents on this of children who are neurodivergent or who are caretakers of children or beings who are neurodivergent are really going an extra mile. There's really a lot more taking place and a lot more being needed from them energetically, physically, mentally, emotionally. And so the need to be nourished is even higher. That requirement is even more of a deepened end of like, no, you need the care more than anybody. And the trickiest thing, though, all that being said, whether we want to talk about how much it's needed or how much we know it's needed, the trickiest part is how to get it right? And you're slammed with time, you're slammed with other people's needs, slammed with other things going on. So, where is it going to be? There's no private chef in the house chopping up the best, highest foods and delivering them fresh and raw to your table and, oh, sit and eat. And just, you know, most of the time, I'm sure they're managing multiple children, multiple meals, trying to get it cooked, trying to help Johnny with his sensory needs and make sure he has his safe foods and making sure that you know you know Kenny has what he needs and what every child has something different almost, and or even if it's all the same, it's dinner and food can be a really intense time, and parents can be lucky if they're getting their mealtime in or when they're going to be squeezing it in during the day. So all into the same circle spiral, we need to have something that is of the highest quality, that is of the easiest accessibility, and that can give not only to ourselves, but can really give to also our entire families. And our Purium superfoods check all of those boxes. They are such a gift from whoever's giving it, whether you're giving it to yourself, whether you're giving it to your husband or wife, whether you're sending it out to a sister who you know who needs it, an auntie, a cousin, somebody in your community, whether you're buying it for someone who cares for your child, who is a therapist or a support, who is a team member on your team. Uh, This is the literal greatest gift anybody could receive. The gift of health, because I mean, I think we all know that saying. We all have lots of things to worry about and lots of issues until we have one issue, and that's our health. And so to be able to support somebody with full nourishment of this quality and accessibility is really off the charts. So I don't want to just keep repeating myself, but I want to take a minute to go over some of the products in our core four, that why they're so essential to a parent who has a child who is neurodivergent or is caring for a person who is neurodivergent. And then I'd love to talk and share with you guys, if there aren't any questions and there's more time, just some other key products that I think are really great staples and essentials in the world of a parent who has a lot going on and a maybe more excessive amount of depletion and needs that extra boost of care. And so, with no further ado, I'll talk a little bit about why I believe the core four really has the core needs being met for a mom or dad of a child on the spectrum or who is neurodivergent. My little one is here with me today. She was unwilling and planned her nap time at just the right time of our call. So she is here cheering me on with her little voices here. And so I'll start with the core four, and it really hits all of the marks for what somebody is going to need. The power shake, or whichever core type of shake you choose, is a huge, I don't want to just keep using the word staple, but it's something that could really ground the body the first thing in the day. And it can be added in with different things if that's the way people like it, to mix it up, or just being able to have it on the go on your way out the door and being able to drink it makes it so much better than a lot of what people need to intake for breakfast. You have to make your breakfast, your body has to digest it and get it through you. And parents who are really needing to serve kids with special dietary foods that they're already working through, as well as trying to prepare them for school. The power shake or any one of our protein shakes can be something that really hits a home run for the body to start the day. And whether you take your aminos the first thing, before your power shake, or 30 minutes after you wake up, whether you like to do your power shake and then the aminos a couple hours after. One of the things that causes anxiety and nervous system upset and a short temperament is a lack of protein. And a lot of us as parents, when we wake up in the morning, we can be tired, and the first thing that we need to reach for is a cup of caffeine, whatever source of caffeine that is. It's usually, something warm or yummy. And it is really great to our like mindset, perhaps. But for our body, it starts a really ferocious cycle of being caught on a cortisol edge and being quite edgy and hitting a lot of ridges. Whereas you can also instead have your, hold on 1 minute, please. Hold. Thanks everybody for your patience. Um, so when we start up in that cycle of cortisol, we end up ourselves in a pretty edgy place. Whereas if we can get our protein in right away, which could be that shake, I literally gulp mine down. um, Dave will hand one to me as I'm making the kids breakfast, right? So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. A lot of the time when we're trying to make everybody breakfast and there's everything going on in the house, and you takes a little while, your body's already taking energy, already taking muscle, already taking the things that it needs to be in that mode, but you haven't put anything in usually. So yet, so to be able to wake up and just gulp down either your power shake or have those aminos right away, which is the pre-digested protein that goes straight into your system in 25 minutes. You then are just powering yourself up before even breakfast time, right? And you're almost giving yourself an armor for the day. Like I've got my armor on, I can rock it, I can take whatever is coming at me. Then, after you've had that, you can add in whatever you're needing, whether you need more calories, whatever your diet specifically to you is needing. Then you get to bless yourself with that. But first, you get to bless yourself with some protein to even out your energy, to make sure that you're a balanced parent. And And I also want to talk about, I've mentioned the power shake, but a lot of us who are needing to not just get our staple in, but might be using that shake as a replacement because maybe you don't have time to make your breakfast if you're getting kids out of the house for school or whatever their needs might be, wherever you're needing to get going in the mornings. The super meal shake is also a really powerful one for parents because it has the adaptogens, it has more protein in it, it has just more nourishment to it. So if you're going to be somebody who can't quite get breakfast to yourself, this would be a great way to not just get the core needs met, but also get a full meal, really, with the super meal replacement. And the dark berry protein, it's my favorite. It smells just like, gosh, I don't know, like candy when that bag opens up. And it also has a higher protein content to it, and it has a little bit of a different variety of flavor. So if you're maybe, wanting to make sure you get everything in, I recommend putting, but maybe if you're doing it every single day and you want to mix things up a little bit, I highly recommend the dark berry and blending that in. It honestly feels more like I'm having a treat to myself than having to like make sure I get my nutrition in. I'm very much of a like, okay, do this and then you get to reward yourself a little bit. And so dark berry feels like a reward in itself, the flavor profile for me. Um, and then, if you like to have the ritual of a certain type of caffeine, whether that be coffee or tea or things like that, then you can add that into your day or add that into your morning without it really wrecking your system. It's maybe not the best thing to do, but it doesn't hurt your system the same way it does if that's your first thing to get to, which if you have your power shake and aminos, you've already given yourself that power boost, that energy boost surge that you need to get your morning going. And if you're uh, really needing a boost, mixing in the can't beat this is honestly way better than any caffeine reward. Like I said, it's a reward in itself in the instance that it's going to give you that same kind of um, pulse of like whew, like super refreshed, energized uh way to start the day, but it's not going to give you any sort of crash. It's not going to take you to that cortisol edge, which is where we tend to get as parents when we are trying to get out the door and Sam can't find his shoes and Jill can't get her hair up and Timmy's backpack is missing. And, it's like you want to be able to get through those points without snapping at everybody. And when you have caffeine, that's what happens. But if you're able to give yourself that power shake, you're really, or any type of those shakes, you're really giving yourself a buffer to start your day. And um, the next one that I will go into, unless anybody has any questions, that's pretty straightforward. It covered aminos. I say, unless anybody has questions about aminos with the power shake. Um, but the next product that I really want to talk about that I feel is top of the line critical for us as parents and for parents who have kids on the spectrum who are neurodivergent is the biomedic. So I'm sure being a parent for anybody, we're often on the go. We're having to get kids here and there. And it's a pretty tough commitment to ever say we will never eat anything that's not organic. Especially when you have kids that are at school and you're, doing things with different community, different teams and sports and gatherings with other people. You don't want to be offensive or cause a huge scene for your kids and being like, you can't eat that. It's not organic. Because it's quite, it's getting better, but I'd say that it's a little rare to have, an event for the kids these days that is fully organic. And this, I'd say, is also like less of your shield and armor, but more of your sword as a parent against glyphosate and the non-organic foods. So it's also for you too, right? So as parents uh, who have kids on who are neurodivergent, it's probably not the most likely that you get a bunch of time to go out with friends or go out to meals or go out to do, different occasion types of things like you get to maybe, I hope, during the holidays and these festive seasonal times, getting to meet up with different family members who may not follow your same diet. And you don't want to go over to Aunt Jenny's house and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to eat any of the dinner you just made me and my family because it's not organic, right? But you don't want to really discredit and disrespect your body at the same time. And so when you have your biomedic, you know that you're really covered. You can eat what you need and want to eat when you're on the go and when you're in circumstances and not have a total cloud of guilt over yourself. Because if you're taking it on the regular, you probably won't even uh, really notice too much of a difference on like your body for long term, at least. Digestively, you might. But it's a really good way to prevent hurting your body if you're not able to eat organic. But it's also just a really good way if you are trying to heal and also keep away from the glyphosate. So, coming back to the healing of the gut part, a lot of parents who are have kids who are neurodivergent are highly, highly, highly ultra focused on their children's diet and everything that's going on for their child, not just their diet, but the multitude and array of different things, different therapies, trying to figure out everything for them. It's a high load to carry, and it leaves little room to figure out your diet and figure out things for your own body, right? It's can be one thing when you have kids in general, but with our kids who are neurodivergent, there are a lot of other things going on biologically and environmentally that need to be taken care of, and it can be really hard to put our health on on the first line. And so having biomedic to heal the gut is really an extremely, it's like a lifeline because most all illnesses start from an unhealthy gut, from something taking place in the gut. And not only that, but our gut determines our mental emotional health. It determines our hormonal health. It determines so much. And so as parents, when we aren't able to be able to focus on ourselves super like focused, at least we can heal our gut and try to remove and heal things that are already going on. And we can protect ourselves, prevent ourselves from running into disease that will stop us from being able to take care of our kids who critically need us, right? I know that so many parents who have kids that are neurodivergent, their biggest fear is who's going to take care of my child? Who else can take care of my child but me, right? And having disease is usually caused by an unhealthy gut. So to be able to protect that fear, at least even an increment of it, there's no way of washing that away. Unfortunately, I wish I could wash it away from the shoulders of parents, but we can at least help to prevent them from getting disease that accrues from an unhealthy gut at the root. And we can help to have an elongated overall great health when we're able to take our biomedic and take our supplements and take our green drinks every single day. Um, that being said, with biomedic, there's no questions there. Um, I'll continue on into let's see, apothecary, right? I think that's number 4. Apothecary, my best friend, and a really uh yeah, heavenly piece of the uh core for parents and for kids as well. But for the parents, sleep, as much as we struggle with our children with not getting sleep, for people who are parents of children who are neurodivergent, it's extremely common for children to not be great sleepers or to really be challenged with their sleep. And if your kid doesn't sleep, guess who else ain't sleeping? Mom and dad. So mom and dad just as badly, I mean goodly, need need the sleep or whatever amounts that they can to be optimized. And so what I love about tart cherry is that it adds, in my opinion, can't really say it scientifically, but how my body feels is that apothecary adds 2 hours to my sleep. So I may be only getting 6, but when I have my tart cherry really thick at night, it really feels like I actually got 6 hours of sleep. I can feel quite rejuvenated. And the reason for that being is, the quickness that cherry allows us to rest into our melatonin. And so, also, another big factor of the apothecary is us as parents, again, in general, have a lot of thoughts that follow us on our way to sleep about everything that went on in the day and everything that's going to go on in the next days and months and years and entire lifetimes of our children. um, for our parents who, again, have children on the spectrum who are parents of children who are neurodivergent, there is a lot of inner chatter and a lot of worry to carry, and a lot that, like I said, follows you to bed. That once maybe you finally do get those hours of sleep, but dang, then you can't turn your brain off and you're conscious off about everything that's going on. And so being able to have the melatonin, not from a supplement, because that really leaves you on a lag the next morning, but getting that pure melatonin from the fruit there directly into your system really helps that even though you might not be able to get to sleep or might not have the quality of sleep as you're falling asleep, it's going to help you get into your REM quicker, even if you're having a lot of those chattery thoughts and worried thoughts and things like that. And it also, is loaded with antioxidants. And so it's going to be repairing our bodies and our mitochondria, which is also um, gonna help us be our best the next day, help you to be your best the next day for when you wake up, for yourself and for when you wake up for your children and your family. You want to be able to wake up feeling refreshed. It's really hard to wake up feeling groggy. So a lot of parents struggle with that whole melatonin supplement situation. They're trying to get that melatonin in, but then they wake up like a shovel to the head. So it's such a gift that the apothecary can bring us that rejuvenated melatonin, deep REM sleep, and not leave us hanging with the groggy foggies in the morning. And so that really hits all of the core four. But as we're talking about sleep and getting our worries and our chatters inside down and getting our systems ready for sleep, the product I'm most excited about right now is our chill spray. And we've been taking that as a family before bed. Uh, we take it throughout the day, but as a family, we've been taking it before bed too. And my little girl reported that she, doesn't have nightmares when she takes chill spray. I believe that that's because it's really calming and comforting her nervous system before she goes to sleep and really settling those repetitive nervous thoughts that she might. She sometimes, we actually are pretty, what's the word? Reserved in what she's allowed to see on media and things like that in terms of scary images and things. But unfortunately, you really can't get away sometimes from some of the like scary characters and things like that, especially around Halloween time. And those images follow into her world. And before she's going to sleep, sometimes they'll, cycle. The chill spray has the gabapentin in it, which breaks the repetitive negative cycles that are repeating in the brain. So not only is that really good, why that's, I believe, helping for her nightmares, what that does for us as parents who are carrying a lot of heavy weight, a lot of intense things going on in their own hearts and in their families, being able to take that chill spray is going to help uh, put a stick in the wheel of those thoughts of that you can't put down sometimes to go to sleep. I've known parents that said, I'm sorry, I was up all night. I just could not sleep thinking about this meeting with the IEP or, whatever might be taking place. The chill spray is also really beneficial for just any of those chaotic moments, those moments when it feels like you're hitting that edge where you're gonna snap, where your patience has hit its full meter. The chill spray really brings the body back down to a center. And the way that it tastes, oh my gosh, I could eat, again, talking about candy, I could drink a bottle of chill spray, not because of the chill effects, although I probably need that too. Um, but the flavor in itself is just so delicious, and it's the perfect amount of this like tangy sweet. My kids are hooked on it too. So the chill spray is a real benefit to coming down for the night or any intense things that may be really weighing on your mind, weighing on your worries during any time of the day. And I mean, just to, I don't know if I can pin that down anymore, but when we're able to release our worries, when we're able to release all that chatter in our brain, we're able to be present, right? And presence is I don't want to be all cliche, but presence is the greatest present of all. The connection when we're present with our children really serves more than most any tool or resource that you have when we're able to really just let everything else in our worlds go and just be in that present pure moment, you can feel a different kind of connection. And so having these kinds of tools, a lot of times the reason why um, anxiety occurs or why our brains wander, why it's hard for us to be still, why it's uncomfortable sometimes to not be doing or producing is because our bodies are actually nutritionally depleted. And so it's allowing our emotions to talk and rule us. And they're ultimately, most of the time, not telling the truth. when when they're coming from a depleted state. Not that your body isn't telling the truth, but I mean when it's depleted, it's usually speaking not from an honest space. And so being able to have these tools to keep your body grounded nutritionally, keeps your body grounded emotionally, keeps you grounded into your children's space and creates a connection that really ripples out to everything that you're doing with your kid. And so, with that being said, does anybody have any questions so far? Because I've been talking a lot, and as my little one is reminding me.
We have a couple of guests for you today, Anna Marie, so I'd love to invite them on to come share their experiences as mothers and caregivers themselves. And so, Megan, Petron, if you would like to come and share your story,
Ah.
and Jill, I'll have you come on next. I'd love to hear your own experiences as mothers and caregivers of how these superfoods have supported you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for all that knowledge, that wisdom, my experience. It just was amazing to hear. I can relate so much. My name is Megan. I'm a mom and I'm also a holistic health coach, and I work with parents who have kids with different needs, special needs, ADHD on the spectrum, neurodivergent, and my son is neurodivergent. And my partner is neurodivergent. So when I found Purium, I felt like this pull toward, like, with my soul. Like it was just everything, especially this movement. I started joining these Million Mom movement calls, and every piece of me was like, yes. So, and it's because of the holistic lifestyle that it offers. And then with our community here and these calls here, really honing in with parents of kids on the spectrum, it means a lot to me. So I just wanted to share what it's done for me, and I'll share what it's done for my son, and my partner too. It's actually really exciting because I started with me, like, first, and it was awesome how it like rippled effect into other people in my family. It's like, my self-care. Like Purium's, I started with the ULT, and this was my way of taking care of me, my self-care, and I lost 30 pounds in during that, like the 90-day cleanse, and then like a little after that, over time, like gradually. And it wasn't just the weight like that came off. It was like I literally was talking to my mom on the phone the other day, and I was telling her like how it's like the lights felt like they were off in my mind, like a cloud, if that makes sense. And it was like the lights came on. So like the weight was coming off, but then like the cloud was coming off. Like the weight of my shoulders, it felt like was coming off. It's hard to explain, but like the chatter in your brain is something that was said, and I'm like, yeah, it's like, so this helped me first. And then when I saw what it was doing for me, I realized like I really need to get my son on this. He has a previous diagnosis of ADHD, and he had that same thing, like the mental chatter and like the brain fog. Like I could tell like what like his eyes and like the way he was like the way he looked, it's like his lights were off. It's the best way I could put it. And like he could not focus, as like his mood was different. And so when he was taking the Purium products, he'd come home from school and I saw the lights were kind of off, like in his eyes, like he was just kind of drained, like his focus. And he would start to take the shakes, like Epigenus family. I'd give him the shakes, the core four, and it's like immediately, like 20 minutes later, he suddenly like the lights are on. It was like an immediate effect because I knew he needed like that nutrition after school. And so a lot of parents hopefully can relate to that because it's like kids come home and they're just kind of depleted um at the end of the day, school day. And so I saw an immediate effect with him. And then I would give him the shakes before school and he would do better at school. And the kids' focus drops like throughout the day, really supported him. And and then I would tell like I kind of take like what I learned with my son and like what I was doing with him and how he was able to improve his own function. And I shared this with my clients and they started getting the same kind of results. So I'm like, yes. And it was just it's kind of like whatever the body needs, whatever is imbalanced, I could see like in different clients, my son, me, like like the body just goes back into balance is what it was feeling like, no matter what it was. So if we needed to lose weight, the weight was coming off. My son is really skinny. He didn't need to lose any weight, but what he loved because he's a teenager and what he loved is that it was helping him build muscle. So he loved that part, and he's in sports and he'd have friends come over and these boys are starving teenagers in that moment when these friends are coming over, and I would make them Purium shakes, and they were like just devouring it and loving it, and it would help them. And I could see the difference in them going in the living room and doing their homework together. They're kind of all wired, and then they take their shakes and they do the focus, and then they'd all kind of calm down and do their homework together. And I'm like, yes, it's working. So it's just the little things. It's the little daily routines. You notice it. Um, and like his digestion was so much better. Like going to the bathroom, like that is actually very connected, your digestion, your gut, like we've been talking about, um, to the brain and the focus and what we're feeling, our mood. So when kids are not going to the bathroom, like they're crabby. They're literally crabby, like until they go to the bathroom. So like that was helping him to go to the bathroom regularly. And um and then another thing is my partner, Ben, he did not want anything to do with Purium for like almost a year that I was on Purium. And he's like, no, no, and no. And he finally started it for the last, I don't know, it's been like 3 or 4 months, and he is down 50 pounds. 50 pounds. I just it like he really needed that. And so for him too, we went to this let's share this like we went to this Thanksgiving party with friends and they were like noticing him, like and they were like, you're different. You're so different. Like your mood. Like they clearly noticed the weight and they were like, you lost weight, but it's more than that. Like they're like this one of my friends was like, no, he's different. Like it's his mood, his energy, he's his clarity. He's like a different guy because when they were hanging out together or hanging out together as a group before Purium, he was kind of more sluggish and just kind of like quiet and just didn't like wasn't all there. The mental clarity part, and that like he gets a lot of that brain chatter. And so he was able to like function in the social settings because that can be really hard too. Like whether you're a kid or an adult, and especially if you are neurodivergent or on the spectrum or have like a sensory processing disorder or whatever it is, like you can have or social anxiety, like you can have that more of that social anxiety, hard to like talk in groups. And it was helping him with that. So and it was helping me with that too. Um, so it was really cool to see. It started with me and it trickled down to my son and to my partner, and my mom, she loves this and my clients. So, yeah, I can't say enough good things. That's kind of my short story in a nutshell.
Thank you so much,
So,
Megan, for coming on and
thank
sharing.
you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. And I love that, it really started with you taking care of yourself, which is what we're here to share about today, right? Is really that self-care piece of doing it for yourself first. And then let that ripple out into the people that you care for, the ones that you love, your children, your spouse, your family members, your friends. And like you said, the beautiful thing is that people will notice a difference. They'll notice that you look different, your vibe is different, your energy levels are different. And that's how it started for so many of us. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I did want to have another guest on, but I see that we're at the top of the hour and there is a Spanish call starting in just a few minutes. So we do have to wrap up so that they can have the line. And so I just want to say thank you to Anna Marie for coming and sharing all your knowledge with us today and really just always inspiring us with everything that you have to share. And this is our last Zoom of the year, you guys. So thank you so much for being a part of the Million Mom community. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And we want to just invite you. There's no Zoom next Thursday, obviously. You can go ahead and follow us on Facebook, Million Mom Movement, or like our page, excuse me, on Facebook. Join our community group, Million Mom Movement Official. And then, of course, follow us on Instagram, tag us in your stories and posts through the holidays, your fun recipes, your shakes, all the things you're doing. Make sure you still interact with us because we'll keep sharing it in our stories and posts throughout the holidays and into the new year. And then, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can have access to this replay as well as so many others. And if this is your first time attending Million Mom Movement Zoom, we'd love to just invite you to reach back out to the person that invited you here because they invited you because they deeply care about you and want to support you in your health and nourishment. And so please reach back out to the person who invited you here. Thank you so much. And Anna Marie, I saw that you unmuted. Did you want to say something before we close out?
No, just thank you everybody and thank you so much, Naira. Thank you, Dominique. Thank you to the Million Mom Movement.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Megan, for sharing. Thanks, Justine, for coming on. Sorry you couldn't share your story today. Maybe next time. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you in the
Bye,
new year.
everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy
Bye.
holidays.
Happy holidays.